From around 1 millennium BC, we see the world in the Middle East going through some major changes, and this change revolved around the Persians. Who were these guys? When we talk about the Persians, we are generally referring to the people who settled in modern-day Iran around 5000 BC. Iran means land of the Aryans. Sounds familiar? Yes, these Aryans are the same people who settled in the Indus Valley and later influenced the course of India. If interested, you can watch my lecture on the Aryans and on India by clicking here. Some of the Aryans also settled in a nearby place called Medes. The Persian Empire was founded by King Cyrus in 550 BC when he conquered Medes. King Cyrus was a very impressive guy. He conquered Babylon, Syria, and Palestine and became the largest empire the world has seen until his time. So, what was actually so special about King Cyrus? How was he able to conquer and maintain sovereignty over his people? Yes, the Persians had access to lots of rich materials which aided their conquests, but King Cyrus's personal character and the way he ruled accounts predominantly for his success. King Cyrus ruled over conquered regions by respecting the institutions and cultures of his subjects. For example, he preserved Marduk for the Babylonians and rebuilt the Holy Temple in Jerusalem for the Hebrews, also known as the Jews. Now, a quick review about the Jews. In a sense, the Jews, or the Hebrews, saw King Cyrus as God sent. Why? Well, if you saw my previous video, you should know that the Holy Temple was torn down by the Babylonians. King Cyrus was greatly revered and is believed to be one of the first kings to have the epithet, the Great, associated with his name. Although the Great is commonly associated with the later figure, Alexander the Great, some scholars believe that Alexander adopted the epithet out of admiration for the accomplishments of Cyrus the Great, since he was revered in the ancient world for his military conquests and his policy of toleration towards conquered people. So, as you can expect, the Persians were known to be quite peaceful in its methodology of ruling, to the extent that the famous Greek historian Herodotus taught that the Persians loved flowers. Fun fact, tulips were first cultivated in Persia, so Herodotus seems to be correct. After King Cyrus stepped down from the throne, his son ruled, and he conquered Egypt. However, he died in 522 BC due to an illness. The throne was then supposed to be succeeded by his younger brother, but he, too, died for some reason. The cause of his death is contested, and some believe he was assassinated by King Darius, the next ruler of Persia. King Darius ruled from 522 to 486 BC, and his work rivaled that of Cyrus the Great. He spread the empire, and he decentralized the empire by creating provinces and placing rulers in each of the provinces for greater stability. The provinces communicated with each other via a single language, the Aramaic language, which adopted the Phoenician alphabet. They also invested in roads for better communication, which allowed for messages to be conveyed up to 200 miles a day. King Darius created a new capital called Persepolis, where he was later buried. His tomb is marked with non-Persian influences such as Greek decorations, and this goes to show that Persia assimilated many things from the places it conquered. All in all, the Persian Empire advocated and supported the transfer of good and useful ideas and also practices from one location to the other. Under the Persian Empire, most parts of the Old World came together to a sizable extent. The Babylonians, Indians, Greeks, Jews, Phoenicians, and Egyptians, and more. In this way, the Persian Empire marks the end of a rather linear historical account where everything in one region originates from one people. Before I end this lecture, I want to talk just a bit, about the state religion during King Darius' time, as I think it's worth knowing. During King Darius' time, the cult of Zoroastrianism became the state religion of Persia. Zoroaster, also known as Zarathustra, is believed to have founded Zoroastrianism by 6th or 7th century BC. It is thought by some, for example by Friedrich Nietzsche, to be the first religion to explicitly conceptualize and verbalize the notion of good and evil. They embraced a dualistic cosmology and believed that we see evil in the world due to the struggles between a good and evil God, and this resulted in a strong emphasis on morality within the religion. Some scholars suggest that Zoroastrianism influenced future oriental cults, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and it may be interesting to learn about them in your free time. In addition, Zoroastrianism's main ritual revolves around fire and sacrifices, and you can notice the Aryan tradition in much the same way we saw for India. And that's the end of this lecture. From the next lecture, we'll enter into the classical ages, which is pretty much the end of the ancient history, and we'll start with the Greeks. The classical age of a civilization is the formative period that established the cultural, artistic, political, and intellectual foundations for later periods in the civilization's history.